Hi. So how many of you, by show of hands, have ever been to a performance poetry event? Oh, it's quite good. It's quite good, Newnham. We're very cosmopolitan. So performance poetry, basically, depending on who you ask, some people might say it sounds a bit like a rap. Some people might say it's definitely a poem. I would say it's just me shouting things that rhyme incessantly until you hopefully have some emotional response. Today, as Julie said, I'm going to talk about depression. The Evening Standard may have named me one of their top 10 feminist modern-day icons. But funnily enough, the paramedics who came to section me in a South London hospital in 2015 hadn't read the hot-off-the-press news. And so, yes, I live every day with multiple mental illnesses, including anxiety and borderline personality disorder, but I also am still alive. And I take 150 milligrams of sertraline every day, and I see a therapist twice a week, and I'm not ashamed of that. And this poem is a kind of way of looking into that, and I decided to focus on a Japanese joinery practice called kintsugi. Now, for those of you who do not spend most of your lives on Shoreditch High Street, mixing with folks who perhaps have decided to appropriate ancient spiritual, cultural practices and stroke their long beards and think about them in a sort of very unmeaningful kind of way. You might not be familiar with the term kintsugi. So kintsugi is the idea that when a pot breaks, this is a Japanese practice, so when a pot breaks, instead of repairing it so you don't see the kind of cracks and the kind of flaws of the object, you instead pipe gold into those cracks, so they show up even more, and that makes the thing actually a much more beautiful object. And I felt it to be an appropriate metaphor for having many, many flaws myself, but still being alive. I've been knocked off the shelf for a while now, fractured, fissured, and forgotten on the floor. I have poured every pore of my person into being a person, but it still is not working. I am still hurting, bursting, burningly broken. I have tried to pape over the cracks in my coping, hoping that no one will notice the damage, the severed ceramic, the seam-split, unseemly girl, fragile and frantic. I have danced this devastation in traces and scrapes across my brain, sometimes across arteries and veins. I have carved my shame into my skin, turned it tracing paper thin, made a battlefield of my body, waged a war I can never hope to win. But in the throes of this fitful, friendly fire, I clutch and I cling to that thing that Leonard Cohen used to sing about the crack in everything, and that is how the light gets in, and that is how the life gets in, and that's how we might begin to be better. Cease to be our own aching, ailing, aiding a better, unclasp the pressure, and rebuild, refill, re-will our worlds into being full of feeling beyond measure. When your storm feels too hard, too harsh to weather, remember kintsugi, the art of building beauty from that which has been broken, repairing the ruptures until at last they gleam golden, where mirth and dirge converge, the hurt, the worst, the hurtling verge, the hurts are interwoven, not hidden, left showing, exposing the past of the pottery, the cracks in the crockery, the flawed and the tortured, the confident and cautious, the gaps and the gapes, the tragic mistakes that we fit back into place, reshape and glue into gorgeous. So forfeit the thought of being flawless. Find the sacred in your scars. Don't be marred by the marks or the masks you have hidden behind. Stand adoring at the altar of being alive, of keeping the courage to sustain yourself and survive. Strengthen your not your fault lines until your majesty shines, your vicious incisions in your soft skin arms, your beating heart, your precious restless mind. Give them time. Restitch the seams. Extend and expend your care to every piece of your being. Stay seeking the season of your soul. Stay believing in your bones. Embrace this holy unfolding. Find comfort consoling in knowing you are wholly, wholeheartedly whole. For everything grows. Nothing is forever inevitably sterile and stagnant. Life can be built out of dazzling filigreed fragments. Cheers.